Okay, so this video is an interesting one. So this is, should you be a volume seller? So what is a volume seller? A volume seller is basically somebody that's main underlying focus is to sell items in volume, to sell as many individual products or to sell as many as possible. Normally what happens with people who are volume sellers is they're less precious on the profit per item, because mostly what you're doing is, as a result of selling volume, you are working on selling lots, if you know what I mean. You know, like if you look at the franchises of like coffee shops like Costa or something, an individual Costa coffee shop may not make that much profit, but because it's a franchise and it has so many different distributed places everywhere, that it all adds up, and it's a volume of process of selling lots and lots of different like coffees in different places. Do you know what I mean? So the question being, and looking back at that about should you be a volume seller, depends on a few factors. The main thing I would say with should you be a volume seller is how happy, how content are you with all of the current processes that you currently do. Essentially what volume selling focuses on is exactly what you're doing anyway. However, you're doing it at an extended scale. You are having to do, you know, take for example, if you sell Stone Island. Say you sell Stone Island, say you work on high-end products, and you work on, you know, you're spending a lot more money on a product, you're making a lot more, and the profit is what it is, and blah, 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 blah. But like, if you take that process of doing, like uploading 20 like Stone Island jackets, take that process that you do for all 20, the process of volume is to essentially take a lot more products and scale up every single element of that process. Let me get to a bit more of a point that can be centralized to it. Being a volume seller is definitely for people who are happy with the process. Maybe you are somebody who can outsource a lot of the jobs and aspects that you do. Maybe you have somebody who is very quick at photography. Maybe you have somebody who will upload products very quick for you. Maybe you have just a very smooth system of approach for all the aspects, and volume selling works. I think that in order to do volume selling, the process I always have is make sure that you are really slick and smooth listing and doing 20 items and the process for 20 items, and then imagine doing that for 200, imagine doing that for 2,000. So the reason why I personally like volume selling is because I fell in love with the processes I was doing, and as a result, I think that it's imperative that you do fall in love. And the reason why I say that is the fall in love with the process is because a lot of the aspects that you do are very tedious. Listing products, if you've listed products for like 5 to 6 hours, and I used to have people who would like list all day for me, 7, 8 hours a day, it's an insane like amount of time to be doing the same job. Like, you upload the pictures, you add all the information from what you've got, next product, next. You have to fall in love with this process of what you're doing is just uploading lots of products. You know, there's many different ways you can simplify it, but the reason why I think that volume selling can work for a lot of people is that if you are in a position where you are buying stuff that's cheaper, because volume is more so for when you're selling things that are a little bit cheaper. Because we take the analogy of the Stone Island sweatshirt, right? Say for example, a Stone Island sweatshirt might cost £45 from a supplier, whereas, for example, I don't know in this current moment, and I don't know who your suppliers are, but say we take that same £45 and we go to a supplier who's got grade B branded sweatshirts and he's selling them at £5 a sweatshirt. So we get 9 sweatshirts for the same as 1 Stone Island. That is, you know, instantly being volume, but as a result, you're spending the same amount of money on less quality items or a different grade of items or just a different kind of thing, different type of product, and as a result, that's instantly volume. You're using the same money that you could if you was to be a designer seller, except you're distributing it amongst lots of products. Now, the reason for me why I think volume selling is better is because if you marry like the way that you spend money with the enjoyment that you have in the processes that you do, then essentially the profit margins are a lot better. I know that a lot of people that sell designer sell that because they enjoy the brands that they're selling. Some people will do it because genuinely they think they'll make a lot of profit, and you will However, you'll make more profit being a volume seller. You make a lot more profit being a volume seller, but you require a lot more resources to do so. You need a lot more people's time, you need a lot more of your time to actually, wash the products, prepare the stock, find clothing. However the process is that you do, volume selling requires a lot more resources of all the aspects. One thing I used to like about being a volume seller was that when we had our own website and we had 15,000 products online, don't get me wrong, whole lot of products, whole lot to manage. However, my logic was whenever at the point when I was thinking, for every day or for every 1,000 people that come on the website, they have so many more options that they can shop through. They can basically pioneer an experience on the website that's completely unique to them. They might just go, I want to look at red sweatshirts in a medium. And because of the way of volume selling, the chances are that there's a much higher probability that we would facilitate that. The way to be a volume seller as well, though, is to, again, build up that momentum. You have to spend a lot of time sourcing stock, preparing it, building it up. Take that first £100 profit you made, go and try and buy 15 items, go and then flip that, and then take the next 100 and buy another 15, and just keep sort of like buying in bulk. I know that it's very easy and desirable for people to go, actually, I've just made £150 profit. I'm going to see if I can buy 7 Stussy t-shirts from a guy in East Asia or somewhere, because that's where a lot of people buy Stussy from, as a little fun fact. Now everyone's on Google going, oh my God, what? But you know what I mean? It's kind of like, if you want to be a volume seller, you have to just basically love the process that what you're doing. You have to enjoy all of the processes, or enjoy that. Plus, volume selling is for people who want to create a business, create something that has a permanence. There's a lot of people that have a lot of success from the more expensive desired items that sell for a lot more money. And it's sort of very popular all the time. If you're a Stone Island seller, you will probably be successful as a rule of thumb quite often, because people are very much looking for it all the time. However, being a volume seller, for my logic, I would say if you're in the UK right now, or if you're anywhere, maybe even America, maybe even Ireland, or anywhere in Europe as well, there is a crunch of people that are trying to spend less on something that was once less of a luxury, and now fashion and choices like that are much more of a luxury, which is strange, because the high-end designer items, people will pay out for those, but people will be a bit more challenged and a bit more competitive with the cheaper items. However, I always look at it as in, for one Stone Island sweatshirt that you could buy, how many lower grade items could you buy? And realistically, could you make more profit off those lower grade items than the Stone Island? And the answer is yes. But the factors and variables are the rates of time for selling and factors like that. However, the underlying thing is that there is more profit within that. So that's what I'd probably say about being a volume seller. There's some of the sort of points that I would address about it. I think that, again, you've just got to enjoy all of these 10 to 15 micro processes that require a lot of time, and you have to build that momentum. But once you build the momentum being a volume seller, you have lots of products online, you have lots of options for people to look at, and as a result, the more options means the higher probability that someone's going to check out, and every time somebody checks out on somebody who's a volume seller, the profits they make are probably very good. So yeah, hope this video finds you well. Again, new location we are in, but yeah, interesting topic. Hope this one finds you well, guys. If you've got any points or anything you want to ask, feel free to just drop a comment down below, and then I will either answer it in a response or I'll make a video about it. That's what we do.